Pia nasikia wao huenda huko wanapewa njwanga ingine ieleweki.
Unajua something must kill a man.
Must kill a man. First, do Tanzanians listen to Kenyan music?
Good place to start, yeah.
Mark, boy. They expected you to leave a mark. And to you ilikuwa kadogo.
As long as amenyamba mbele yako hapo unajua mapenzi.
Hapo unajua of course, mbona ufanye kazi mapema? Nunua haga mdomo ni bure. Mimi kwanza siko najua yeye ngorota hivi. Mimi siwezi lala na mtu anangorota kama tingatinga usiku.
One has to go. Tightness, wetness, cleanliness.
Moja iende.
Welcome to another episode of MaForeign podcast. Hii ni episode ngapi kwanza hii by the way?
49.
49.
Tunapepea.
Sijui episode 69 tuleta mwanamke.
Hata kabla hiyo
kama inafaa.
69.
50. Hata 50.
No, yeah, 69 lazima ikuwe na performance.
Okay.
Yeah, Kashi.
Very significant.
Haya basi. Na mimi hapa hivi naitwa Josh aka Mhesh.
I go by the name Cheche 25 Flow.
And I go by the name Kiing Marko. Wengine wanajua kama Marko, wengine wanajua kwao pekee na kivyao. And I want to introduce the guest that we have today.
You already know.
Msanii mkubwa.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Kutoka Morogoro.
He is known internationally,
you know what time it is,
by the name of Real Orin.
You know what I'm saying? Being
real.
real. Yeah, you got it right. Being real, you know what I'm saying?
Being real.
You already know.
You can find him anywhere. You can find him on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, at your girl place, at your mama place.
We on
you
there.
can find him everywhere.
You know what time it is.
Na nyumbani ni Mikocheni.
Nyumbani ni Mikocheni.
Hujakosea.
So yes, I would like him to give us more information about himself.
Yeah.
Before we go ahead here.
Juicy.
You already know. It's Being Real over here. An artist from Tanzania. Do a lot of Afrobeat music. I'm a pianist training right now, so we're on that as well. But yeah, you know, I'm out here to support my boys. You know, they've been doing this for a minute, and I just want to love and participate and have a good conversation. And hopefully, you guys can tune in, give us comments, and hey man, like, share, and subscribe. You know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Let
your friends know. Let your friends know. Let your friends know. Man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anaongea Kiswahili buda.
So the other day nilikuwa naongea na msanii wetu hapa. Akasema alikuwa ananishow hiyo story vile napiga the trending music sasa piano is a thing, so he's doing the trendy stuff. Akaniambia pia wanawake wa pale nyumbani Kenya wana trend sana upande wa bongo.
Ibaya sana.
Especially those in the diaspora. Inaonekana ni kama tuna export tuna export at a higher rate.
Tafadhali fafanua.
Unajua kuna kitu ambacho kina trend sasa hivi inaitwa trade deficit. Kwa wenyewe wa Kenya mna trade deficit. What do I mean by that? Ni kwamba si wa Tanzania tunafurahia sana wanawake wenu, kusema ukweli sio kitu ya kujificha.
Mnajivunia wa Kenya.
I mean, for us here in the diaspora, kama unavyojua Tanzania, we're not very many. Kwa hiyo our close sisters and brothers ni wa Kenya. Kwa kwenye upande wa dada kidogo ndio na sisi tunajivunia kwa uwepo wenu ambapo wingi sana.
Yaani mmeamua kufuata mashati aliye karibu ndo naangukiwa na mti.
Alafu let me tell you guys one thing. And I discovered this when I moved here from North Dakota, where I was going college. Mademu wa Kenya wanapenda sana wa Tanzania wanapoongea Kiswahili. Ile accent. Lafudhi. We don't need to do too much. Just gotta talk.
Unajua ukiambia Mkenya lafudhi anafikiria nini?
Mimi nafikiria vitu zingine umesema.
Unajua lafudhi mtu anajua
lafudhi ni nini wewe?
Ni nini kweli? Unajua wa Kenya
unajua lafudhi tulifunzwa shule tusoma Kiswahili, but hatutumii lafudhi mahali. Hizo nini za lugha na nini. Wa Kenya msamiati yetu by the way is very simple. Ndio maana unapata tuna mix Kizungu na Kiswahili na kuwa sheng. But sasa ni kama demu wetu wao feel ni ka sheng iko ghetto kiplani, na Kiswahili yenu matamshi yake iko more composed.
I think
It sounds
there is actually
it's sweet to the ear.
Na pia kuna venye ina sounding kinda polite,
melodic, polite.
Inakaa like
it sounds
watu wenyenyekevu, you understand? But
It's poetic.
Unajua Sheng,
but deep down I know
unajua Sheng ina romantic way ni ya madem wanatambua Sheng. Lakini for kuteka mtu yote huwezi enda tu na Sheng, lakini Kiswahili yenu ukienda pale unamwambia dada napenda unavotembea unavonengua kiuno. Sasa mwana dada atanengua mpaka wapi? Mpaka chumbani.
Unavotingisha.
kabisa ndugu yangu.
Lakini vile mimi wana watizi ama demo kwanza hizi kuna hizi events wao fanya unaona wamevaa dera, wamefunika jamaa naye chumbia uso, wako hapo wanadondosa makalio, wanawake kadhaa.
So all I'm say like sisi Tanzania, especially ukija, you know, like the people who, you know, who are living like, you know, out there, ni kwamba we have a culture of kama mnavyoona nyewe kuna, you know, wanawake wanavaa madera and stuff like it's, you know, kuna kitu tunaitwa uswahilini. So uswahilini is like, you know, like the hood. Kasi tunaitwa uswahilini, and that's why you find a lot of those girls. So what they do is, you know, zile dera mnazijua, they put on the deras, alafu wanajimwagia maji. So it's like wet. And when you know when it's wet, like the dera, you know, it attaches to the body. And then they do what they gotta do. I'm sure you've all seen some videos.
Yeah. So unajua mimi nikiimagine mtu ananirombosea juu ya uso yangu amenifunika na dera.
Yeah.
Basi hiyo ni kusema kunusa ndo kujua. Ama for what aesthetic. Hii dera nafunikwa nayo iko na curtain nyingine imefunga chambers ama.
Sasa ngoja nikwambie kitu jamani. Kama dera imeshamagiwa maji, all you can see is the body as the body, lakini with a cloth on top of it. Kwa hiyo it's basically,
so unaonyesha ndio hii temptation.
Translucent, like you can literally see the shape.
Umeelewa?
Difference tu ni kuna nguo, lakini unaiona, unaona ngozi, unaona shape, unaona.
Hiyo ni temptation msee, because I think nile kukufilisha.
Mika cameraman, mina trip and fall.
No, what's the point? Is this to teach you that there's going to be temptations in marriage, but unafaa tu kuzi-avoid because mse uko hapo alafu wengine wanakusugulia hapo.
They know what they are doing. Wale wasichana, they know what they are doing. Hiyo sio culture. Wanataka kuonyesha what you're gonna get or what you'll be missing. Kwa hiyo okay, unabidi uende pale na akili timamu. You know what time it is. Unafikiri wenyewe ni wajinga?
Okay.
Unafikiri wenyewe wajui? Wanajua.
Hiyo culture siletwe Kenya.
I'm surprised haijafika bado.
But hiyo culture Kenya inatembea kwa ceilings tofauti. Let me ask you a question. And I'm very curious about this because nimeona na Watanzania wengi. What's with Tanzanians and Range Rovers? I just want to know what's with Tanzanians and Range Rovers.
Yeah, so well, sijakaa Kenya kivile, so I don't know how it is in Kenya, lakini of course ukiwa Africa kuna yale magari ambayo watu wanaangalia wanasema you know, like nikipata hela au mambo yangu yakiwa vizuri nitanunua gari kama hiyo. Kwa sisi Tanzania kuna magari yetu, you know, kuna kama Land Cruiser V8, kuna Range Rover is like, you know, that luxury car that it's kind of affordable because it's not like up there like, you know, with the Rolls Royces and stuff, but it's something that, you know, plenty of people have. So, you know, it gives you the belief kwamba inakupa, you know, and plus when you're pulling in a range, everybody knows what time it is, you know what I'm saying? Kwa hiyo with that mentality, ukija Marekani, you're like, they gotta know. They gotta know. Alafu yani mambo siwe mengi, they have to know. When I pull up, you know what I'm saying? I gotta show them what time it is.
Alafu kitu nyingine nimeona pia ni mnataka kuendesha magari kubwa na pia kutembea na magari kubwa.
Ndio.
Ni kitu ya wabongo ama ni,
unajua usiseme magari tu, let's go straight to the point. Ni kwamba hawa dada zetu tunapenda kidogo mambo yao yamejaa kidogo, so unajua. Lakini unajua hiyo sidhani kama ni wa Tanzania tu. I think it's like an African thing. Manake wanaume wengi wa Kiafrika, sio wa Kenya, sio wa Tanzania, sio Nigeria. We like a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? Some meat to hold. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Wewe ukaja hapa umekonda alafu ni.
But unajua ile tunatakanga first floor iko konde, second floor imetoka, third floor iko flat, fourth floor imetoka hivyo nje. Hivyo ndio tunataka. Shida ni kuna mahali unapata first floor imepanda, second imepanda, third imepanda, fourth imepanda. hapo nayo kidogo na naona ni kama hiyo ndo upande mnaegemea sana.
Na ukiingia hapo pia lazima uipande.
Unajua something must kill a man. Something must kill a man. Lakini, you know, the older I've grown up as a man, I've come to understand that everybody has their preferences, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of respect that. But I also feel like, you know, and I'm not talking even just about like Africans in general, just the black men in general, because I've also seen it here in the diaspora as well, that a lot of, you know, even our African-American brothers, they prefer their women, you know, 5'5" and thick in the thighs, you know what I mean? So I think it has something to do with maybe our genetics and, you know, God willing, also that's how most of our women are built. A lot of them, you know, are very thick. So, you know, ni kama I wouldn't say
shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all Tanzanian women out there, man. Y'all blessed.
By the way, let me say,
shout out to the thick thighs.
I think Tanzanian women are one of the most beautiful women in Africa, and I think the world in general. Like, you all need to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe take it. Okay. But hey, for my viewers out there, you gotta go visit Tanzania. If you're single, you're looking for a lady, you know what I'm saying? Tanzania is where to be, because I promise you, you're gonna find what you get.
So since I have friends who would love to tour there and najua wanaweza taka kujua jibu ya hii swali. So ukikuja Kenya as a Tanzanian or as a anyone from outside Kenya, ukikuja Kenya, you'll be fed, you'll be served. Nikienda pale Bongo, do the services apply the same ama pale inabidi mchakato kidogo hapa na pale before upokee?
Kakangu, maisha ni ujanja bana. Maisha ni ujanja. Lugha.
Lakini wanatembeza
lugha
kama upande wetu.
Nimekuambia ujanja tu. Wewe kama unaweza kuongea maneno matamu, unapata mambo.
So but wanatembeza design, unasikia Nairobi, unajua Nairobi ni per person sharing. Da iko vile pia.
Not as much as Kenya, because you guys share a lot, which is good, but not as much. No, you'll be up there when it comes to sharing. Because you're not as much.
No, South Africa.
I mean, I can't speak for South Africa. I don't know about them. Like in Kenya, I've seen and I've heard. Kwa hiyo, it's something that I can testify to.
It's everywhere, honestly.
But sasa, you know, there's this thing. Someone actually asked. It was a lady that asked, "Why don't East African men go for West African women the way West African men go for East African women?"
Man, that's easy. Our women are pretty. What you talking about?
So what are you saying about the women?
I'm not saying nothing. All I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? Like,
the women are pretty too, but the majority are a little built.
Have you seen East African
women?
It's
a little built.
Have you seen East African women?
No, you know, I think the thing is,
I'm talking about the West Africans. Like, y'all pretty and whatever. Like, it's actually, you know, I appreciate y'all for real.
Yeah.
Love my West African women, but I'm just saying, like, a good amount is good built. It's good. It's just, you know, it's y'all built.
Oh yeah. So I think
like times himself, even Whiskey couldn't handle it. You know, man. You know, that's what I'm saying.
So I think kitu ni with West Africans, kwanza vile wao ongea to start with. Wao, their language are very aggressive.
Yeah.
Honestly, East Africans atuongeangi hivyo, so unapata mpaka madem wamekuwa assimilated to that. Hata wao wakiongea kuna hiyo aggressive wanaongea na sisi tumezoea madem wetu wametulia. Yes, wa Kenya tunajua lakini tunajua kudeal nao because they are our people, but kuna ile aggressiveness inakuanga, alafu pia genes zao ni watu ugronika, watu wa lakeside. Ukikuja Kenya unajua vile mwili zao ziko, they are blessed in every way. Pia wao wako hivyo na wa Kenya ni kama tumekuwa so accustomed to sijui ni petite na slim thick. Sasa wakipata thick kidogo wanaona hiyo mileage gari hezi fika.
Mimi na swali lakini. Mademu wa Kibongo na mademu wa Kenya. Wapi wameiva zaidi?
Si wa Kenya, of course.
Mimi, of course,
we appreciate what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I have. Okay.
But
okay.
So how do you guys
like
run?
I think mali kila mtu wako exposed na mademu wa Kenya ni ndio tuko exposed.
Now ni wako wa Bongo.
Unajua Bongo unatambua Bongo basi.
Oh yeah. But how do you guys rank?
Ama wewe nani wameiva wewe?
Flavor ya Bongo.
Of course mimi ndaenda na nchi yangu.
Of course.
But niulize, how do you guys rank wanawake wetu East African women in the 7 different countries? Kuanzia nani wako pale juu top 3
that's
top
a
4
tough question to ask.
top 3 top 4 because unajua pale hivyo top unajua Ethiopia huwezi iacha nje.
Pia mimi usemanga hizi vitu za kusema how do you rank cause mazimi feel like whichever country kuna mademu wa supu
Of course
like yeah it doesn't mean like
Ethiopia, Eritrea,
but say unajua unaangalia sample size na percentage.
Ethiopia, Eritrea.
Sijui kama
Like sasa ndo
Rwanda pia behind the scenes nasikia Rwanda but Rwanda kuna
Hadi
vile
Rwanda. Ni wale wameshikiliwa.
kuna
Yaani
vile
wale
sisi kwanza wa
hawana
Kenya
anasa.
wa Bongo kidogo kwa urefu ndugu zetu wa Sudan walichukua yote.
Oh yeah.
So mademo wa Rwanda ni warembo but
that's all pia
mlingoti
kabisa.
No, lakini
wa Uganda ni wapole na wanakuja na figa.
Waganda wana vitu. Unajua nisomea Uganda.
Waganda
5 thick in the thighs. Wamebeba.
Joto.
Kwa hiyo yeah, na yenyewe wako kwenye map, you know what I'm saying? Kwa hiyo
kabisa.
Especially like so there's like a lot of tribes in Uganda and I was there like for a long time. There are those who are close to Rwanda, wanaitwa Wanyankole, kuna Wanyankole na kuna Waganda pia. Like boy.
So unajua
See for yourself.
So
kuna hii kitu
who are the more
I mean, you know, definitely the whole country has like Tanzania, Uganda. You know, I'm always gonna choose my country. You know what I mean? But again, I feel like, as in general, East African women, not only is it about like the physical appearance, but also like I feel like also their demeanor,
personality.
Personality. It kind of matches with us East African guys. So that's something that we just kind of like connect with. Because even though like Africa will have the same culture, you also have to realize that there is culture differences. And like you talked about like some of the women being a little bit aggressive. It's not just the women, even the men are aggressive. And so for them, it's something that they all understand. While for us, it can be like a little bit too much. But to them, that's the normal. And I've also got comments like, oh, East Africans, we're very laid back, chill. You know, to some, even in the dating market, they're like, man, I can't date an East African guy. Like, he's so chill. He's not going to tell me do this, do that. And I'm like, that's who we are. We don't really, you know, do too much and stuff. So, yeah.
Unajua wanawake
Like
wetu, they are a match with a lot of ni universal donor. Wanawake wetu ni universal donor. So, what match na anyone? But
Barcelona is crazy.
kabisa.
But unajua pia
unasema wanawake wetu au wanawake wa Kenya. Let's be very specific with this one.
Wanaangalia wanasema I don't know, sijui kama wao pima masculinity na aggressiveness, because some of them I believe that's their view, that say maybe wako more masculine. Pia nasikia wao huenda huko wanapewa njwanga ingine ieleweki, so wanaona kurudi nyumbani tashwishwe kidogo.
Mimi ngoja niwaambie siri wanaume. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. Kuna, speaking for my bunch of, you know, West African friends that I've got to meet, kuna dawa ambao wanatumia kwenye ngono ambayo inawafanya waende muda mrefu. Sasa, if you know our sisters, you know, definitely when it comes to that sector, the more the pleasure, the more liking it is. So, ukikaa nao vizuri watakwambia they are hata Watanzania wanayo. I don't know about Kenya, sio sijajua. Lakini kila nchi na dawa yao ambao akishatumia mambo yanaenda.
Tuko
na mkombero.
Sisi tunajituma bro. Sisi ni survive or die.
Like, I don't know if you guys like, have something, you know, herbal in your, you know,
ugali.
Sasa hiyo ugali haitafanya. Haiwezi fanya. You know what I mean? Kwa hiyo sometimes tunaulaumu hawa, you know, dada zetu kwamba wanataka hela, but it's not just about the money. There's something, if you get your close Nigerian friends are going to let you know what time it is, and trust me. Hey,
do you know anything about the kind of like the names of the medicines? Maybe some people want to know.
I don't know the names exactly.
Is it the root? Kuna root fulani.
All I know, if you're in Minneapolis, just go to, you know, Brooklyn Park, them African stores. They know, you know, they're going to shoot you some. But, you know, that's all I know. But yeah, quite, it's more than just the money. There's a lot to it. That kuna ujanja ambao watu wanatumia ambayo I don't know kama Kenyans have caught up on. I think they have. So if not, then you guys gotta learn to.
The game is rigged.
The ring is rigged. Hapa mimi nimeingia bro, nimeingia hapo, nimejituma, niko tayari kabisa bro, niko set, nilikula kitambo, saizi nguvu iko sawa, maji nini
umekuja hiyo 60 second intro
nasikia
performance.
hata before nianze kukimbia marathon hivi nasikia ta 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 game imeisha.
Unajua kitu na sisi ni watu wa album of course inakujanga na intro inakuanga ile ya dakika moja alafu sasa unaanza kurelease mangoma one by one. Sasa shida yao watu wanakuja na mix. Sasa ukikuja na mix surely tutabadilisha tutapelekana aje kweli.
Mix cheese
manze
na Mhesh
ana maoni
sina maoni lakini sasa
kama ona maoni mnajua kwamba sijajua labda Kenya na mnyewe mambo yenu lakini you have to know you're playing at a disadvantage kwa sababu kuna wengine ambao wanatumia an extra things to bring more excitement which our sisters apparently are receptive to, so that's something we also have to put in mind. You know what I mean?
Kabisa
actually niko na swali. Tanzania kuna videos nimeonanga za watu mtu anageuzwa miguu inakuwa ya ng'ombe. Hizo vitu ni za ukweli? Do they actually happen ama ni
Man, funny thing, like I asked myself the same thing kwa sababu I've also seen the videos. I've never seen anything live. Lakini this is like it kind of hurts me to say lakini naona kama Tanzania in the East African community we are known as the country ambao sijui kuna uchawi wingi. That's just how it has always been. Now, everybody has their opinion on it. Lakini when it goes back to the video and stuff, I've never seen it actually happen. I've seen the videos, but again, I don't believe the videos because those can be edited. I've never seen anything live. I hear a lot of talk, but I don't see the actual thing. So that makes me kind of doubt it. And hopefully it's not true, but I've seen videos like that. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy.
Sisi nayo watu ukwama. But like umeenda kuchovia asali mahali ufai, unapata mtu alimwekea hiyo kitu unakwama. But hiyo ya kugeuka mtu unakuwa ng'ombe, hatujafika hapo.
I think it's all
ni syllabus tofauti.
I think it's all talk because nobody has ever come out and be like, okay, I've seen it happen. Lakini videos zipo nyingi kwa hiyo, Yeah.
But pia nasikia mambo ya uchawi na nini ni ukiamini ndio itatendeka. Kama uamini ni kitu inaweza kuhapenia iwezi happen.
Yeah, that I believe too. I think it's all about faith.
That's what they say. Sasa tuambie maneno ya muziki kidogo. How's the industry?
Well, that's a very broad question.
Tuambie
first, do Tanzanians listen to Kenyan music?
Good place to start, yeah.
tuambie kweli tu.
Like radio zenu zinacheza muziki wa Kenya ama ni zile collabo tu?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I was in Tanzania for the past 3 months, and I did hear. I think there's particular artists that we pick from. I've heard of like BN or maybe Saudi Soul, Calligraphy. So they do play. I don't know if I can call it specific artists or Kenyan music because those are also like ambassadors, you know what I'm saying? So they do play Kenyan music. However, Tanzanians have an ear for a specific type of music. They do love their own, bongo flavor, which is like our Tanzanian music. We also have a great ear for like...
can relate.
Yeah. I'm a piano, pure, like that's something that is really, really hot in my country as well. And of course, like Nigerian music is, it's all over the continent as well. So if you're trying to do from a ranking point, then yeah, there is a lot of preferences before we get to Kenyan music, but you do hear like some Kenyan artists, like, the ones that I just mentioned that, you do hear them on the airwaves here and there. So yeah, there's that. Yeah. And one thing I'm going to say, even like move forward, I like to give appreciation to Kenyans because I from what I've noticed is Kenyans are very supportive of international music and they're very supportive of not only Tanzanian music, which we're kind of like your brothers and sisters, even like, Nigerian music and stuff. You guys really are like a hub for all these other nations that come there and also do music. And so that's something huge. But I've also seen like growth in your music as well. So that's something that, also kind of seeing how things are going, getting some people out there and stuff like that. BN is doing really well right now. Saudi Soul represents you guys internationally and stuff. So yeah.
Cardinali.
Yeah. Not as much, but I've heard their songs here and there, yeah.
You have to add it to the playlist.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
I've been listening to some Kenyan music. I've been listening to some Kenyan music.
Nah, by the way, wacha Tanzanian music, majorly inakuwa conceived na Tanzanians na probably Kenyans by the way. Apart from huko
na Somali kidogo.
Na Somali kidogo.
Yeah.
Waganda wana do they
so Uganda, about Ugandans and also some South Africans.
Majorly si ndio tunakuwa tumeshikilia industry yenyewe. Kimpango Kenyans wanakuwa wamehol. Industry wasi sana. But the Kenyans consume a lot of bongo
watu
music,
unajua ni watu watano
which you guys don't you don't take the same as much.
Msee, nakwambia Tanzania ni watu watano tu huimba like big artists.
Boss, kuna maartist wengi wa TZ.
It's a lot.
Wengi.
But
Buda, na ni
Kenya,
mastaa wengi sana. You can name more than 30 nakwambia. Wengi sana.
Wanasikizwa Kenya.
Ni venye wanaweza kuwa wanasikizwa huku TZ.
TZ of course wakiwa TZ ni kama vile Kenya wasanii ni wengi but our Tanzania wanajua tu like wasanii watano wa big wa Kenya. The same wanasema pia sisi tunajua na Diamond.
Kuna local presence na
but I feel like unajua msee ukidiscover msee
not unless we discover
basi what is the name watano.
Apart from ukitoa kina Diamond, Chui,
hata kuwale tupatia.
Nasema akitoa hao
wacha seme wao usikana wajua.
No,
of course wase watano msee na yeye.
Nasema ukitoa main
1 2 go.
I don't have to do that msee. Na wajua wengi msee.
Kumbuki sasa.
But before we forget because tulisahau kubonga hii story last time. BBC ili release nini whatever happened in June Kenya June 25th. And you guys from the outside do you guys consume this kind of stuff that happens? Kama wakati Kenya kulikuwa na maandamano and people were killed, do you guys consume that?
Yeah, we do. I mean, that news, it really spread into the international scene. It wasn't just Kenya. So yeah, we definitely, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because now we were able to identify the killers. So actually, yule jamaa mmoja mwenye alionyesha uso yake, wase walipata nini zake, picha zake mpaka na watoi wake. Niko msehe, uko na watoi shwali, unaenda pale, unapima, unapiga mtu risasi ya kichwa. Sasa unfortunately, kuna gari ya Karao ilipata accident, imeflip, wako hapo, wamefinywa, watu wanasema wacheni wakufe.
What?
Yeah, because of what the police did during June 25th.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of enmity that has been created between the police and the public. So sasa hiyo gari ya askari ilikuwa imebingirika accident, but watu hawaendi kusaidia. Nasema ni askari.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Oh yeah. I don't think they realize the repercussions vitu kama hizo. Because sasa okay, ulipiga mtu risasi. Yes, si wewe itakurudia. Upate ndugu yako ndo huyo alikuwa kwa gari ameflip. Watu wamekataa kumsaidia. Inakurudia tu at the end of the day. So if you're there to serve people. Wewe ni mwananchi tu wa kawaida. If people are fighting for your rights, people are fighting for something, they're fighting for you too. At the end of the day, si watu tu wata benefit. Wewe pia ukiwa hapo kwa hiyo container yako uta benefit.
Yeah. But I mean, so the thing that really puzzled me when it came to the riots and stuff was a lot of the Gen Z or the younger population was, trying to come out and fight for, their rights. And what was it like?
Taxes,
the
right? Finance bill.
The finance bill, yeah. And what puzzled me was some of the police officers that we see in these videos are also, very young individuals.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you guys, you understand that these people are fighting for something that affects us all.
I know.
So then why would you guys also being affected by the same policies be against that?
Because they have to follow the kitu wanaambiwa na mkubwa huko, they have to follow. They cannot do the opposite ya kitu wameambiwa.
It's government, you're employed by the government.
So nikuulize for Tanzanian police, how wanaishi aje, wako aje? Because for Kenya wanaishi kwa these metal containers.
Yeah.
Poor sanitation, poor everything. They're living in the worst kind of conditions that you can expect a human being to be living in. Tanzania askari wanaishi vipi?
I would say, like, compared to Kenya, Tanzanian policemen are living a little bit of a better, I would say maybe lifestyle, just because, the metal huts that you're talking about in Shekuziona, by the way. In Tanzania, we have like apartment complexes where, the police stay. And recently, actually, one of our main police stations, which is in Dar es Salaam, was actually highlighted. It was trending, I think, maybe a year or two, when, Kiss Daniel was arrested and was taken to the police station. And a lot of people were kind of surprised at how big and nice the police station, from the outside, though, I don't know about the inside, but it looked pretty good. So from that perspective, I feel like the lifestyle is a little bit maybe different just because they don't what we see from the outside is, a little bit of a decent living condition. So, that does play a role because, again, as human beings, you want to stay in somewhere nice as well. So, yeah, the government has built for them some apartments that are really great. However, like when it comes to the day-to-day, the same thing that happens Kenya na nyina inafanyika Bongo. You know what I mean?
The relationship is the same.
The relationship is the same. Hata ukisimamishwa tu hivi lazima you know what time it is. Chai lazima.
Kenya unaambiwa ya chai, ya macho, ya nini, ya soda.
Lakini I feel like for Kenyans it's very direct. Like amna wishy-washy. The moments nimesimamishwa Bongo ni kwamba there is, kama mtu anajilegeza, the point, lakini they trying to pass far. Yeah. That's how it is. Unaona kama Kenya they just go, hey.
Hamna mambo mengi. Handshake.
Yeah. So that's the difference that I've seen, but yeah, I think from other stuff it's pretty much the same as Africans.
Is corruption the same with Kenya? Because corruption is part of our economy. It's part of it's our way of living.
Yeah.
Tanzania
Buddha. Actually, vitu zinapen Kenya na TZ, they're just the same. Don't just be.
Ndio maana hawajafikia.
just experiencing the same things we experience huko Kenya mse.
Yeah.
Ni vile sasa
there's actually a lot of similarities between Tanzanians and Kenyans. I mean, the language definitely bonds us a lot.
Yeah.
But outside that, there's a lot of... Even like me, how I can come here, because a lot of times people ask me, like, how is it Minnesota? And I tell them that's kind of like a mini East Africa because, there's Kenyans who are pretty much like
a lot of East Africans.
The Somalis, Ethiopians. Like, it's like a mini because...
Now, food yenyu simnakula just what Kenyans do.
Same thing.
Pilau na biryani kila siku sisi.
Those are Kenyans.
Alafu, ukipata Mkenya ambaye ametokea coast kama Mombasa, akaongea na wewe, unaweza kufikiri Mtanzania. Because the accent is the same. You know what I mean? So kuna hiyo pia.
No, lakini coast wa Kenya. Yeah. Coast wa Kenya wanaongea poa zaidi kuliko wenu.
Si wetu ni ile wako slow wanavuta maneno yao.
I was throwing shots.
Haya, nani Ian, sasa plans gani na muziki sasa? Unajua ulikuwa unatoa ni album ama ilikuwa nini?
No, it was an EP. EP. So when I went back home I did record.
Kwanza tuambie how's the music?
Oh yeah, the music industry.
Journey yako imekwaje? How is it so far? Mazuri, mabaya, what's good?
So I started music probably like 5 years ago. It's been an up and down sort of journey kwa sababu of course niko huku and doing the African music from here. One of the challenges is kind of like the producers here are not as in tune, with like Tanzanian music as much, so it's kind of a different feel. It can be good or bad depending on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely a challenge. But going back home and being an artist, you embrace the love, because it's a lot of people who haven't seen an artist that is not based over there. Yep. So you definitely get a lot of love and support from like presenters, radios and TVs. Like they can call you for a show and be like, hey, how is the music outside there and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a lot of support from that aspect. But again, also the challenge is, in Africa, when you're not physically there, then it's also like
you don't feel the connected.
You don't feel
as
like
much as you're connected online.
Yes, you don't feel as connected. Mm-hmm. So definitely the distance is a challenge because I was trying to do music that caters to my people. Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. And then the other option would be like, okay, also doing the Afrobeats here, but also you also have to realize here, even though Afrobeats is improving, Americans also cater to their artists a lot. And for me, what I believe in is kwamba you also have to build that base back home before you can actually, get out and cross the borders and stuff like that. So yeah, that has been a challenge. But outside that is, you do get a lot of love and support, and people know. It's funny because people know you. Like I would actually go there and people be like, oh, you're so and so and so. So people do know you and love and support and stuff like that. So that has been great from that aspect.
So that's what's up, man.
Do you think that's what's made Nini diaspora, especially people in the diaspora? Do you think that's what's made it hard for them to blow up like mtaa as compared to na mtu career yake ameanzia mtaa iko based nyumbani amegrow watu wamemjua home?
Yeah, definitely, because when you're back home, not only are you in tuned or meet day to day with the connections in this industry, but you get at least for me when I was back home and I was recording, there's a flavor that you get when you're recording back home because you're not gonna be in the studio alone. Most times when you're in the studio, you know, you're with the producer and there's like a couple, you know, the studio vibes, like a couple people. Yeah. So example, like this time when I went back and I was recording and I would say like a word and they'll be like, we don't use that word anymore. Like it has changed, or you know, the lingo is a little bit different, or maybe we use it different. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you go there and it's like you're speaking an outdated Swahili. It's kind of weird, right? And then they have to update you like, okay, this is what we say now. These are the trending words. If you say this, people are gonna react, or if you say this, people from this place are gonna like it. So having, you know, like-minded people who know what the people want, that definitely helps. But if you're here, then you know, if you haven't been home, you know, exactly. So people there are gonna be like, your music is good, but you know, there's something. There's a flavor that is missing. Mtu akipika huku chakula cha bongo, sometimes you're like something is missing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's never the same. It's kind of similar, but it's never the same. So it's definitely like that when it comes to music, though. That infusion of the culture and you know the day-to-day activities that kind of dumps into the music is not there when you're here. So I personally like going back home and recording over there because I just get a little bit of more flavor when it comes to my music. So I like that, yeah.
And you get a lot of flavor too. Huh?
You already know what time it is.
You do rap and sing?
I don't sing actually. This time I recorded some songs, you know, I'm
be a romantic.
I'm not confident in myself when it comes to singing. I don't think I have the voice for it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think you tried enough.
It's because I tried though. No, I did, and then I listened to it. I'm like, I don't like this. Like I feel like I like the upbeat. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, dancing and all that stuff and energy. That's me. But when it comes to singing, I'm like, I don't know about that.
So nikuulize tofauti ya ile kuimba ya shawa, kuimba kwa bafu na kuimba ile saa kwa studio na record ngoma. Like how much different is it, like out of the thought process wakati like ushajipata zile ngoma unaimba kwa shawa una create tu hapo kwa kichwa wako, you end up recording.
Yeah, very very different. First of all, just like because at the end of the day, like I'm not just an artist, you know, like, you know, I'm also a human being. So there's some ideas that I would have in my head, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. Like this is gonna be a hit. Once I hit the studio, I'm like, something ain't right because what I vision in my head versus what I'm singing is totally different. True. So I guess in the shower is that freedom that you just say, you know, singing and you know being out loud and enjoying the moment. In the studio. You know,
the pressure's different. Everything is quiet because you're about to record.
And not only that, like you can't, because you know when you're in the shower, you don't watch your tempo. Like, are you too loud? Are you too low? Because in the studio, you're gonna have to record the same song in like 3 different voices. In the bathroom, just like you know, just doing whatever. But in the studio, like, hey, there's low tone, there's high tone. The producer's gonna be like, you're very rough, you know, turn that down a little bit. So there's actually people who are watching what you're singing. It's not just freestyle. But in the bathroom, you can do whatever, and your mind is gonna tell you, oh, this is the shit. When you go to the studio and you know you record and play it, you're gonna be like, nah, we gotta redo that again. You know, let's do a second take and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very different.
Eventually, we gotta reschedule this.
Yeah, but one thing I must say though, right? The difference between, let's say, studio and shower. The mood you're in when you're making music plays a significant role. The mood you're in. And that's why, like...
So, ukivunjwa roho, utatengeneza more romantic music.
That's what I was about to say. Like, even these people who have been genuinely heartbroken and they sing, you realize, you know, those songs actually end up being, like, hit songs. It's because your mood influences. Now, that's where that comes into play. Because you're in a shower, you're probably in a good mood and you're singing that. So, if you translate that into a studio where you're in a very good mood, let's say with your boys or you've had some, a little bit like that, that really gets into the music versus if you're just like, you know, by yourself and recording, because what your environment actually plays a huge role in how the music comes out. So there's that part.
Hapo ndo unaanza kuimba.
You guys both knew wawili, you're recording artists. Ngoma zenyu ziko hapa nje area. So I just nataka kujua kitu moja cause mimi si msanii mwenye naweza piga ngoma, naweza andika ngoma.
Huwezi imba? Unaweza jimbia.
Can push in the next EP, you know, go to the studio do some background vocals.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like before msio andike ngoma ama like is it before when okay when nini na kuinspire ama before, does it like you decide like okay
ama unaketi tu na kalamu unaanza kufikiria ukiandika,
like when do you decide like nice these thoughts then nimeshikana nazo hizi, this is what I want them, sasa this is the right song, nikikuja na hizi if I connect these thoughts ni hivi na hivi na hivi, this will be a hit ama hii ndio itakuwa song yene najua itabamba wasee at this time. How do you need to inspire what's behind? Because
well, personally for me, unaweza sikia beats, unaweza sikia mtu anakupatia ideas, and if it doesn't click with you, it does not. I advise people to let it go. Hata upatia idea na isiende mbali, let it go. So basically, it depends with what mood you're in, first of all, because that is when ideas pop up in your mind. You cannot be so stressed. Otherwise, you're not going to be considering it too much. It's mostly like specific moods, like you're able to think, you're in your head. That's when you get ideas of words, situations, emotions, and then pia what you listen to, honestly, because you listen to some music, you start picking up ideas, you're picking up this beat. Oh, this sounds great, because artists are like, their ears are really nice, so they really get to the track. They like the tempo. You're over here listening to the lyrics. This dude is listening to how he did that lyric right there. You know, how did he attack it? That this frame is the same, but it was two different voices. But now I sound like a nerd when I said that, right? So it's just in my head. But basically, when you get that kind of flow, and then over time just practicing, that's when you create your personal kind of like flow to get into it. And then you just start writing. Now the writing process is a little tough because you have to have content and let it flow and connect. So that's the part that's a little tough.
Taking how long hivi kuandika ngoma moja hivi?
It depends what kind of song. Lakini mimi naweza freestyle ngoma off the top hadi chini. Ama kuandika na sasa kwa ngori inaweza chukua siku mbili.
So kani love song ama kani ngoma ya heartbreak, unangoja as you go through the phase of the heartbreak unaandika verse. Hapa unaandika verse, hapa ni pale amekwambia I miss you but bado hataki kukupea tena, unaandika verse. Pale mahali mnafika sasa unaona ni kama amemove on, akona mtu, unaandika verse. Alafu ya mwisho ni pale mahali ukuna mtu lakini bado mnaongeanga, unaandika verse ya mwisho.
Process is I'm curious.
Oh, mine. So
ama unaingia tu studio na freestyle tu, bro?
I wish I could just go to the studio and freestyle. But like sometimes when you try that, there are people who are really efficient with that. But sometimes when you try that, it's like your head gets blank, and then you don't want to go in the studio when you have nothing.
Yeah, but I love freestyles, man.
Yeah, some people are really good at it.
Freestyle msee. Tumalize show na freestyle. Si ndio?
Ili pressure more.
Kabisa lazima.
Tumalize.
But si alikuwa anamaliza
kitu anasema.
Yeah, so 95% of my songs they begin as a freestyle actually. So I'd play a beat that I like, and I would freestyle to not 100% freestyle. Some of it would just be like hymns. You know what I'm saying? So I'd freestyle like, okay, hey, maybe I'm gonna get money today, and I'll go to the office, and then if I like words, I'll just like hymn it like, and then I go back, today was a good day, blah blah blah. And then so the initial phase is it's a whole freestyle in hymns.
Yeah.
And then once I have that, I'll listen to that. Once I like how that flows, then now I have to go back and sit down, and I'll pick some words from the freestyle, and I'll add some words on myself. You know what I'm saying? So I'll feel like, okay, if I say like, okay, hey, today I was going to the office, I liked it, right? And then I have to see what rhymes with that, and then I'll create a verse. And sometimes I'll try to create a story behind it. And then I also, so that, because it has too much, you can't just be like, I went to the office and I killed a lion, like it doesn't make sense. So it kind of has to flow. But the main thing is, okay, is it rhyming the way I want it to? Does it sound the same? I don't really matter much about the words, as long as, it sounds how I envision it in my head. And then now you go to the studio. So this is where the difference...
Do you usually think like, venye mafans wako watai receive, do you usually think how...
Yeah,
any line unaeka hapo hivyo, do you know do you consider mset interpreter as a...
Yes, definitely.
You have to,
So,
because they're gonna be playing this song over and over.
So kama hiyo I went to the office, I liked it. Uwezi ongeza I saw my manager, I piped it. Am I rhyme? No,
that's what he was saying. Like sometimes it can rhyme, but then you have to think about how is the audience going to take it. Exactly. Some of us, like, even at my office, they know I'm an artist, and some of them listen to my song. So I just can't put anything in there because they know, hey, boy's going to be in trouble, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But again, so
even though wasanii ujiuza wanaenda jela juu wanaimba
oh
zile
yeah,
crime
hey, because I mean, you have to realize this is content that's gonna be out there. So you also there's the brand. How does it affect the brand and all that stuff? Like you don't have the luxury to just sing whatever you want. It gotta be like restricted a little
so
bit.
wasanii hamna uhuru wa kuimba chochote.
I don't think anybody has the authority to say anything because, you know, in the modern day and age, things can come back. So you have to kind of like be careful what you put out there as well.
You have the freedom to do it,
Yeah.
but you also have a responsibility to
Exactly. You can't just be saying anything. But I was going to talk about something, the difference between like here in Tanzania, which I discovered this time. So when you hear what you have written down, 99% is what you're going to sing. Because let's say if I'm in the studio with, let's say, a white producer and maybe some Nigerian people, they may not really know what I'm talking about. When I'm in Tanzania, that's where I've gone to the studio where I have like 100% of the song and I end up using only 50% because now everybody's chiming in. They're like, take that out, put this in. And it's not just for like the people around. Even the producer himself can be like, you know, let's take that out.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
They're involved in the process.
So everybody's involved. So it's a little bit different. That's why I say the outcome when you're back home is a bit different because you can have a good idea, but, you know, they're going to like a little bit refurbish it a little bit. Versus here, you're going to go with that straight idea because not everybody is aware of the culture that, you know, with the song that you're going to put out. So yeah, it's definitely
anytime ukiwa na verse pia unaweza picha hapo hivyo tunaweza kuguide msanii.
You already know.
But sasa another issue, another thing ni before ya mwisho nadai kukuuliza where you do rap in Swahili, si ndio? Mostly.
Yeah.
Kizungu
I do put some English but not as much.
But hebu upatiwe chance unaweza kuwa comfortable kuimba ngoma zako apart from wachana na Swahili kabisa, you just push ngoma za Kizungu kabisa for just a bigger audience, maybe international audience, since uko hapa US. Unaweza taka, can you deliver still apart from kutumia Kiswahili?
As of now, I would say no, and the reason why is because I've sat down to do a song that is completely in English. It just doesn't ani haitoki. Ni kama, you know how sometimes they say ukiwa na mawazo yako, some people think in English, Swahili, Kisi, whatever the language is, right? So I normally think in English.
You express
but when it comes to
in,
singing, it's just Swahili. It's just what comes out. I can't explain it. It's just what feels right to me when I'm singing.
That's what's up.
So yeah, that's it. When I've done English songs with English verse, it doesn't feel right, but I can do it. But you know, so music is a feeling. So if it doesn't feel right, you're like, you may do it, but you may not even release it because of how you feel about it.
Marko, do you wezi change to, because usually una mix up and
personally, me, I've grown up speaking a lot of English and Swahili in the house. I've grown up around a lot of friends who just speak Shang. Nimeguzia kiasi Kikuyu, Kisi, Kombali. Alafu. So that's what I use. I pull from that, and then also my daily activities and the plan. So I could kind of like, I like to incorporate different languages and different kind of aspects. Like you won't see it coming, then I hit you with it and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Connect. It's kind of like my style.
Atupe freestyle moja basi.
Freestyle tukifunga.
Tukimaliza.
Director ataka beat ya MaForeign. Ataka beat ya MaForeign.
Ataka beat tu.
Kabisa. You have to give me if you give me
I like how you brought that up because I was in Tanzania and I went to actually an interview Wasafi
and then
they told me to freestyle. Boy, I was like playing because they told me about it like a minute before I entered the studio. So I mean, a freestyle I'm not even supposed to prepare, but I couldn't, and I ended up singing an old song of mine as a freestyle, but it wasn't the freestyle. So
you sing something unrecorded, something you haven't recorded.
Tupe line.
So now that I'm putting my boy to the spot, I'm like, I know what you feel.
Unaweza tupa leo nisikia wasanii.
Topic.
Nairobi.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Nairobi.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to use this freestyle.
Okay. Ngoja.
Nairobi.
Naishi jiji inaitwa Nairobi. Nairobi. You know what it is. City under the sun. Niko sawa lakini siezi I can't do the shit together, my guy. Somebody has to do the beat.
Okay. Out of the beat.
Yes. Hey, usifanye ni ume. Unajua kitu ni public. Kitu ni mulele.
Of course.
Sanga cheza beach mazima behind the scenes. Jo lakini sasa.
Okay. Yeah. Nairobi. Nairobi. Kijana mtana shati nimestoka jiji Nairobi, lakini saizi niko majuu na demu wako ananikujanga na nakuja haogi ili ni muoge akili.
Yeah. You know.
Guys, see you next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all our socials at MaForeign Podcast. Peace.
Haogi.